The fastest way to get better is to get in more reps. And the best way to get in more reps is by lowering the cost of failure. Let me explain what I mean, and I'll start with a non-martial arts analogy first. I really like wilderness canoeing. I really like running whitewater way up north in some remote river hundreds of miles from nowhere. But the problem is, if that's where I'm doing my learning, if that's where I'm pushing myself, then the cost of failure is very high. If I wrap that boat around a rock, I'm going to be sitting on shore for a long time. Best case scenario, I get picked up in a day or two by a float plane, and that's going to cost me many thousands of dollars. Worst case scenario, I'm going to be there till wintertime and then walk out across the tundra to the nearest village. There's a big cost to screwing up, and the incentive not to screw up is very high. So what I did recently to improve my wilderness canoeing is to buy a very small playboat. This is a little tricked out boat with airbags in it and a saddle. You're gonna paddle that with a helmet, all the safety gear. You're gonna paddle on local rivers with a friend. And worst case scenario, you lose your boat, you walk to your car and you drive home. What that does is allows me to get more reps in. I'm gonna hit more eddies. I'm gonna do more front ferries. I'm gonna deal with more difficult situations. And if I flip, I'm either gonna roll back up or, like I said, I'm gonna walk back to the car. The cost of failure isn't catastrophic and I get way more reps in. Similarly, in martial arts training, we wanna get more reps in. Let's say I wanna work on guard retention. Let's say I wanna get better at stopping people from passing my guard. The high cost of failure option here is to simply start sparring and you come into my guard and you pass my guard and then I spend 4 minutes underneath your heavy cross faces. You're just crushing the life out of me and then finally you set up submission and tap me and then that's the end of the round. I had one opportunity to get better at guard retention and I screwed it up and I paid a high price for it and I got 1 rep of practice. Situational sparring is one way to lower the cost of failure. Say we might start in my guard and you're gonna work to pass it and you eventually manage to pass it. You do a Toriando pass. Cool. We stop, we reset, we go back into my guard, and now I learn to defend the Toriando pass, but you do a different pass. You do an over-under pass. Now I have to work to defend the over-under pass. And you eventually get past and you secure your pin, and then we stop and we reset and we go again. There isn't a large cost of failure. Also, constrained sparring lowers the cost of failure and allows you to get more reps in. A great example of this is Rob Bernanke's Fuck Your Jiu-Jitsu training methodology that he covers in just about every instructional he does, where one or both of the people are heavily constrained as to what they can do. The person on top, for example, might not be allowed to make grips, might not be allowed to pass the guard. His job might only be to actively post and to try to avoid getting swept while the person at the bottom learns to sweep, 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 sweep. So the person on top gets better at active posting and the person on bottom gets better at sweeping. And it's not like once the person on bottom sweeps the guy on top, he works for a guard pass. No, you stop and you reset. It lowers the cost of failure. Another way that you can lower the cost of failure for developing your offense and get more repetitions in, and this is somewhat counterintuitive, is to improve your defense and your escapes. In a jiu-jitsu context, if you're really good at escaping positions, then if you're on top, and you go for an attack and it doesn't work and you end up on bottom, no problem. You can escape and you can get out. Say you're in mount and you're trying to go for an armbar and you go for that armbar and it doesn't work. The guy bridges and gets out and gets on top and crushes you and you end up on the bottom of side control or the bottom of mount. No big deal. You can get out, you can reverse that and you can get to the top and you can attack again. You've lowered the cost of failure. In a boxing context, in a kickboxing context, if you've got really good head movement, really good footwork, you can try something crazy. And if it doesn't work, no problem. You have the defensive skills to not pay for your mistake, to not pay for your experimentation. You are lowering the cost of failure and you're allowing you to get more reps in practicing your offense. There's a reason why mountain climbers don't only practice their mountain climbing on Mount Everest. If you screw up on Mount Everest, it's probably going to end your expedition and you might be dead. There's a reason that mountain climbers spend time in climbing gyms. They are going up the wall and they fall off, they land on the mat, they go again. They go again and the cost of failure is reduced. By having a lower cost of failure, you don't get as discouraged and you get way more reps in. And this also ties in with the whole idea of letting your training partner into the game. Let's say I want to get better at a guard pass, and I'm bigger than you, and I'm better than you, and I'm more experienced than you, and I'm going to go and I'm going to smash your guard, and I'm going to go and control you inside and take your back, and we're going to roll around. Eventually I'm going to tap you out. That might have taken 3 minutes to tap you out, but I got 1 rep in of my guard pass. If I let you into the game, even if I show you what you should be doing, that's going to improve me faster. I'm lowering the cost of failure for you, so I get more reps in. I'm going to pass your guard and then release the pressure a little bit, allow you to reset, and I'm going to go again. And I'm going to go again. And I'm going to go again. And I'm going to show you what you should be doing. So I learn to react against a different form of resistance. And thus, you're going to get better, and I'm going to get better. Because you're going to have more practice at stopping me from passing your guard, and I'm going to get more practice at passing the guard against a better level player. Lower the cost of failure, and your game will come up much faster.